let's see if I can do better at keeping up with this vlog than I did last week. Hi everyone, my name's Koi, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is the start of a new weekly reading vlog. It is Monday evening. I am currently editing last week's vlog and I'm also participating in the Buffy watch along on Becca from Becca on the Books Patreon. We're about to watch the musical, which is my favourite episode, so I'm very excited for this. And I've already listened to the soundtrack once today in preparation, but now I'm excited to see other people's thoughts in the Discord. So I'm going to do that. I am reading obviously this week. I am halfway through Ship of Magic. Ship of Destiny. I'm halfway through Ship of Destiny. I've been listening to the audiobook. Should hopefully finish that one this week. I am actually off work for the next 2 days because I'm going to London. I will explain more tomorrow and take you guys with me. But yeah, my reading plans are to read Psalm for the Wild Built and 10,000 Doors of January. So I'm actually going to be taking part in TBRPGathon. It is wrote from Wandering Through Worlds readathon, which is all based around her TBR game, so which is in itself an RPG role-playing game. So you have to make, basically Ro is the DM, she's the dungeon master. She is telling us a story and we have to make choices. So the first choice was whether you were going to compete as a duet or a solo act. I chose to compete as a duet, which means I had to read a book with multiple perspectives, which Ship of Destiny actually works really well for that, because although it's third person, there are multiple characters and they kind of all have their own perspective. So I definitely am going to pick that for that. The next prompt, I'm one of her Patreons, so I actually got early access, so the next prompt is due to go up at midnight, but I ended up choosing, what was it? It was choosing whether or not you were competing in some sort of trial where you had to kind of defeat a monster and you had to choose whether to split up and distract, or whether you were going to like sort of gang up and herd it into a corner. I ended up choosing the separate and distract, which means my prompt is quiet. Now she has said you can sort of stretch these as much as you want. I am going to possibly try and use Psalm for the Wild Built, because I'm thinking that Psalm to me is quite sort of a peaceful word. It is so quite religious, so I'm thinking quiet probably goes quite well with that, but we will see. If I can fit it in something else as well, then I will do, but I'm not entirely sure. Kind of just gonna read what I want to read and then hope that they fit into the prompts, to be honest. Hello, it is now Tuesday. I am not at home, in case you can't tell. I am in a hotel room in London currently. I am about to head out soon. Got here like an hour ago maybe, and I've just been sat in my room not doing much because basically I have plans this evening. I'm going to see Bonnie and Clyde, the musical, as a concert version, although from what I've seen at the pictures it is like a staged version. Basically it was a show that's never been on over here. It was on Broadway but not for very long, because although like it has like a big following, it never really sold that many tickets, so it closed quite quickly, and it's finally coming over to the UK with a member of the original Broadway cast. It's got Jeremy Jordan in it, but it's as a stage concert version just for 2 nights only. I'm going to go and see it tonight. I'm very excited about it. I'm also going to go and see something else tomorrow, but I'll tell you about that later. And yeah, basically my plan today is to do a little bit of book shopping before I actually go to the theatre. So I've just topped up my makeup. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to get my bag ready, and then I'm going to go out shortly and kind of stay out until see the show later on tonight. But I just thought I would catch you up a little bit. I have done some reading on the way here. I have listened to like 2 more chapters of Ship of Destiny, maybe 3 more actually. They're really long chapters, so I've listened to it for a while, but still not actually read that much in terms of number of chapters. But I am really enjoying it. It's starting to get into more of like the climactic part of the storyline, it feels like now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turns out. I've also read half of Psalm for the Wild Built, which took me like a little bit to get into. I mean, it's only 140 pages. So when I say a little bit, it was like 30 pages. But I just wasn't quite sure what was happening. And now, again, things have started happening. It feels like this is the actual storyline now. So I'm excited to hopefully finish that one tonight. But right now, I'm going to go and enjoy some theatre. I'm being a little bit quiet because I am back in the hotel room and I do not know how thin these walls are and whether or not people can just hear me talking to myself. Like I said, I'm back in the hotel room. It is now the evening. You should have seen a few clips of my day. I basically went book shopping. I went in 3 shops, but I think I might have only filmed in 1. Or I went in 4 actually, but I think I only filmed in 1 because I went in Gaze the Word, then I went in Forbidden Planet, which is the one that I actually filmed, and I went in Foils, and then I went in a Random Waterstones. I think it was the one in Covent Garden. But yes, I went in all those shops and I bought a grand total of 1 book, but it was a good book, I hope anyway. But I've heard good things about it. Basically, I went in Forbidden Planet and some of their books had like random discounts on, and this one had £5 off, and I've been wanting to read it anyway, and it worked out that this was cheaper than if I would have got it off of Amazon, which, you know, cheaper and also not giving money to Amazon. Great. So I bought Middle Game by Sean Maguire. I've been wanting to read this one for a while, and yeah, just happy that I've actually picked it up. The only thing I'm not happy about is it's one of those covers that I know is going to get fingerprints all over it the second I start reading it. But yes, very excited for this one. I also did a little bit of makeup and skincare shopping because Glossier has a shop. I don't know if it's a pop-up shop or a permanent one, but they have a shop at the minute. So just stocked up on a few things like moisturiser and stuff so that I don't have to pay for the shipping. And then I went in the Theatre Cafe, which is one of my favourite places. It is a cafe that basically is all theatre themed, and it plays musical songs non-stop, and I just really love it. So I went in there, had myself a coffee, and then I went to see the show, which was Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know if I explained this one earlier, that basically it is a musical that was on Broadway 10 years ago now, and it didn't last very long because it didn't sell great, but it's got quite a big following afterwards, and there's been talk for a while of it coming over here, and they decided to do it as a concert version. It was not a concert version, it was very staged, which was great because I wasn't expecting to see a fully acted out musical today, but that's pretty much what I got. I think it was like toned down from what the original staging was, but still like fantastic, and it was very, very good. It was just a very good show. And then they actually announced at the end that it will be coming to the UK in its full production at some point soon. So I've signed up for pre-sale for that because I would love to go and see it again. And yeah, that is pretty much my updates. I have not read anything else since last saw you. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've been listening to the audiobook of Ship of Destiny. I have no idea how far I am into that now because I just had it on as I was walking around, but I'm very much enjoying it. Stuff is definitely happening now, and a lot of the characters who've been split up for a while are all kind of interacting again or getting very, very close to. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. I'm going to get changed into my pajamas and probably not go to sleep for quite a while because it's me, I don't sleep, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I will catch you guys up in the morning. Well, really quick update because I do need to leave my hotel room shortly. It is Wednesday morning. Well, actually, first to update you, I've not read anything since I last spoke to you. I went to sleep pretty much just after I updated yesterday, and then this morning I've ended up just watching a load of booktube on my iPad instead of reading because that was just the mood that I was in. I'm now dressed for the day. I'm going to go to the theatre again. I'm going to go and see Moulin Rouge. So basically, I was supposed to see this show last weekend. Well, originally, actually, I was supposed to see the show in New York for my 30th birthday, but that trip got cancelled because that was November 2020, and obviously could not actually get into New York, and also Broadway just wasn't doing shows at that point in time, so that got cancelled. Planned then to see it in the UK. The date for that actually starting ended up getting pushed back by a year from when it originally was supposed to open. Got tickets eventually, and then was supposed to go like a week and a half ago, and then got COVID and had to cancel the weekend trip. So I was supposed to go and see it with my mum and was planning on still waiting to go and see it with her, but with like when we're both free and when there are tickets available that are in sort of the price range we want to pay, because the tickets for this show do get quite pricey. When there was availability, we can't really see anything for quite a while, so she ended up telling me to just come and see it on my own this week because she knows how desperate I am to see it. So I'm going to go and see that this afternoon. First, I need to go and leave my bag in some left luggage, and then I need to go and pick something up for my sister, and then I will be going to go and see Moulin Rouge. So I'm going to go now, because otherwise I will not have time to do all this stuff before the show starts. But I will chat to you guys later with updates. You'll probably get the next chatty update once I'm back home this evening, because once the show's finished I have time to go and get some food, and then I'm going straight back to Sheffield tonight. So I will talk to you guys later. Hello. I told you my next update would be when I was at home. It's actually now Thursday evening. I don't know why I'm still dressed from work, but it's 9 o'clock in the evening. I'm gonna get ready for bed, and basically I've just realised that I have been doing a readathon all week and not really giving you guys an update. I've told you about what I'm reading, I've told you about whether or not I'm enjoying things, although actually I don't think I really have for the book I'm reading currently. But with sort of the travelling to London and all that sort of stuff, I've not really actually broke down what I'm reading for TBRPGathon. I think I've already given you a description of what the readathon is, but if not, basically it's inspired by Ro from Wandering Through Worlds TBR game. It is TBRPG, which is TBR RPG game, so it's a role-playing game, and it's basically like Dungeons and Dragons. You have to make choices and they influence what your prompt's going to be. So what she's done is she's done like this choose your own adventure type thing, and every day at midnight she puts up a new video, and depending on what choice you make depends on what prompt you get. So we are currently up to Thursday, so we are on day 5 of 7 so far, and I'm just going to talk you through my choices a bit. I have not picked 5 books, I have picked 2 books, and tonight I'm picking a 3rd, but I will explain what those choices are now. So for choice number 1, you had to choose between solo and duet. So basically the point in the story was you had to choose whether you were going to do it by yourself or pair up with Ro, and I chose to go with duet, which means I had to read a book that had more than one perspective. Now luckily I had started reading a fantasy book that I knew I was definitely reading all this week, didn't really want to pick up anything else at the time, and this is multi-perspective. It is all told from 3rd person, but it is different people's perspectives throughout, and that is Ship of Destiny. I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, the characters following this, I can think of about like 6 or 7, so definitely a multi-POV book. So for the next choice, you were doing a trial, and you had to choose whether you were going to split up and distract or whether you were going to herd something. I chose split up and distract, and the prompt for that was quiet. Now I wasn't sure exactly how this one worked. I think I have actually spoke about these 2 prompts in previous clip, and I said I was going to try and make Psalm for the Wild built fix. I was like, Psalm is quite a quiet thing. I did not realise until I opened this and the first sentence literally talks about a monk. So the main character is a monk, and monks are known for their vows of silence. So I have chosen Psalm for the Wild built. This is just the dust jacket because the book is somewhere else. But yes, Psalm for the Wild built definitely fits the quiet prompt. So for the next one, you're in a maze and you had to choose whether to do all left turns or right turns. I'm left-handed, so I thought I'd stick with the lefties, and I would pick left, which means you had to pick something from the left side of the world. And now the way that Ro has separated this is basically America, north and south is left and everything else is right. So you could choose that in whatever way you're wanting to. She did say stretch these prompts if you wanted to. One of the ways she said to do was to pick an author that is from the left side of the world. So I picked Robin Hobb. She is, it says in the beginning of here, born in California but raised in Alaska, and she lives in Washington State. Definitely American. So this one still fits. As I said, I'm trying to fit in my current reads because I didn't really necessarily want to pick anything else up until I finished these ones. For prompt number 4, you actually had to roll a d20 dice because it was all about making a guess on how much something was worth, and basically you had to see whether you got a high or a low number, so 1 to 10 or 11 to 20. I don't have a d20 dice, but I did use a computer generated one, and I actually rolled a 3, so a very low number, and that meant you had to read a book that was under 300 pages. I think a novella fits perfect for that, so I will carry on reading Psalm for the Wild built. And then the final prompt that we're up to at the minute, prompt number 5, is actually not been released yet, but I do get early access because I'm one of Ro's Patreons. So I've just seen that one, and basically it's doing the sort of like fairground games where you have to hit something with like a hammer or a club, as it was in this case, and you have to see how far up it gets to sort of hit the bell at the top. And you had to choose whether you were going to use the long and thin club or the short and thick club. I went with the long and thin one, which means that my option was strong. Now, I could very easily make that one fit the Ship of Destiny. There are definitely characters in here that I would count as sort of strong, tough-willed characters, things like that. But I am not in the mood to sit and read one of these books today, although I do need to finish this one because I'm 60 pages into it. Speaking of, by the way, update on thoughts, this is getting more and more interesting by the second. It started as me thinking it'd be 5 stars. It went down to being a 4-star because I got lost along the way. But it's feeling like a 5-star, but also I'm getting really angry at some of the things that are happening, but in a good way. Like, a character's just returned and my instant reaction was just disgust that he was there. There was also a really awful scene that I was listening to and did not need to be hearing it, and I'm really, really enjoying it. This one, I'm 60 pages into it. It's only 140 pages long. I read it on the train journey and then I just never picked it up because I was too tired when I got back to my hotel room at night, and then I was tired on the train journey home last night as well, and I'm really enjoying it, so I want to concentrate on it. But it's hard to describe what it's about. I'm probably going to try and give you a synopsis once I've finished it, but it is really, really good and I do really want to finish it, but I'm still really tired, and to be honest, I just want to read something fun tonight. And I have a graphic novel to read that definitely fits strong, because in each generation the Slayer is one born with the strength and skill to fight the vampires. We're going to be reading the Buffy comic. It is a reboot of Buffy the TV series. It is in a modern day setting. I'm very excited to read this, and yeah, I can read this all tonight. So I'm going to be reading the Buffy comic as my strong prompt. And I've been recording this for a while now, so I'm going to go and actually read. Hello, it is Saturday. I did not update you yesterday, and I'm sat here having just eaten when I got home from work, because this is my Saturday to work, this one, and I realised that I haven't updated you today yet either, so I thought I would jump on and say hello. I am very, very tired. I've alluded in recent videos that I'm just not feeling the best at the minute in general, and that's kind of like affecting my reading in a way, because there's definitely days where I'm just not picking a book up at all. I did that yesterday, but also affecting this channel a little bit now apparently as well. I'm normally quite good at pre-filming loads of things, but I think because I pre-filmed loads for December for Bookmas, I haven't in January yet had a day where I have sort of filmed loads of stuff for this month. I should have done it really while I was isolating with COVID, but didn't, for understandable reasons, feel up to it. So it's meant that I do not actually have a video to go up today, and I try to put up videos every Wednesday and Saturday, so I feel a bit rubbish because I haven't put one up today. But I am going to hopefully film that tomorrow morning so that I can put it up on Monday instead. So this week we should have hopefully already had Monday. This one's going up Wednesday, and then tomorrow I'm also going to film a TBR for next month, which is going to go up on Saturday. So I'll be at least a week ahead, and then next week I'm going to film for stuff that's going to go up in February. I'm going to get back on top of it, but I've just very much lacked motivation. So I'm, like I said, feeling very tired. I did not read yesterday. I was planning on at least listening to the audiobook of Ship of Destiny on my way home from work, but just wasn't in the mood to put it on. Just knew I wouldn't concentrate if I tried putting it on. And then when I got home, I watched some TV, watched This Is Us, and then I fell asleep. So not much to update you on there, but today has been slightly different. So although I've been at work today, and you would possibly expect that I would read less, I've actually read quite a lot. I did listen to the audiobook of Ship of Destiny. I am now, I think I've got 150 pages left. It is all coming together. All of the people who've been separated for a while have all come back together. There's family reunions happening, and they're not necessarily the happiest ones, and I'm just really enjoying this book now. There's been some really difficult scenes to listen to. What's really amazing about Robin Hobb is that she can really make you turn complete 180 on characters without, like, in a second. And there's particular character in this, but I don't want to give spoilers, so I'm not going to name character names, but there's basically 2 characters in this book that have really done that. One for good, one for bad. So there's one character that at the beginning I just found really, really irritating, and as they have sort of progressed throughout the story, they've just really come into their own, and I'm loving them at the minute. And then there is another character who I didn't love at the beginning, but I was intrigued by and just kind of wanted to know more. And then there is, like I said, this really horrible scene to have to read and or listen to, as the case was for me. And now I just detest that character with every fibre of my being. And then there is another character actually who I hated all the way through, I thought was gone, and has now made a reappearance. So there's just these like characters that I'm feeling such strong emotions for, which is fantastic. So definitely heading more towards a 5-star territory again, which is great. I do still need to finish Song for the Wild Bill. I haven't read those last 80 pages yet. I think it's going to be about an hour in the audiobook, so I might be able to finish it tonight. I'm currently on my own in the house, well, apart from this guy, which is the noises that you can hear behind the camera because he's grunting at me because he's waiting for a bit more food. My mum and dad are both out. My mum is due back in a couple of hours though, so I'm going to try and read some more before she comes in. I'm going to try and basically, my plan originally was to try and finish both books tonight. I don't think I'll be able to do that because I didn't listen to Ship of Destiny on my lunch break, so I'm like an hour behind what I would need to be able to finish both of them tonight. I should finish at least one, so I'm probably going to concentrate on Ship of Destiny, just because that's the one that I've been reading all day that I'm really intrigued by now. And I think now that I'm getting towards the end, I want to actually sit with the book at the same time as listening to the audiobook, just to kind of finish it off. And then hopefully tomorrow I will be able to finish Song for the Wild Bill and then pick up something else. I have 3 books left to read this month, 2 of which are on TBR Bash, so I need to focus on those 2 first. And then the third one is one that I want to read for a read-along. So basically I need to read 10,000 Doors of January and Let's Call It a Doomsday for TBR Mash. And then if I have a chance by the end of the month, I would like to read Law, but it's not the end of the world if I don't manage to read it. I would very much like to, because I'd like to watch the live show for that as it happens, rather than sort of just watch it afterwards. But if I have to, I have to. So yeah, that is pretty much my update for this Saturday evening. I don't think I've missed anything else out, but if I do, I'm sure I'll be back. I'm now going to go and feed this guy so that he stops grunting at me. So it's Sunday morning. I'll give you a proper update in a bit, but I just went and let the dog out this morning, and he sat on the chair next to me and he wouldn't settle, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I moved the pillow that was on my knee, and suddenly I figured out why. Because he's decided to climb onto my knee and fallen asleep, and I'm getting all the love, and he's just a good boy. He doesn't always do this anymore because he is a little bit old, and I think it's uncomfortable for him sometimes. But right now, he wants the snuggles, so we're having them. Hello, it is now Monday because I am yet again very bad at wrapping up my vlogs, but I have also realised that I was quite bad at wrapping up TBRPGathon. That's what this vlog was supposed to be, a TBRPGathon vlog, and it ended up just me kind of being tired all week and feeling a little bit sorry for myself. But I did give you a little bit of a rundown earlier on of where I was in the prompts, and we were up to day number 5. And day number 5 I was planning on reading Buffy comic volume 1, the reboot comic volume 1, for the prompt of Strong. I never actually gave you thoughts on this. I've realised I did read it. I read it in one sitting. I enjoyed it. It's fun because I know the characters so well. It was also strange because I know the characters so well and they are different in this. There are some completely new characters. There are characters that are brought in a lot earlier than they are in the TV show, and so far those characters aren't feeling too similar to what they are in the TV show because I only know them as adults and now they're teenagers, which is a little bit strange. So there are lots of changes. It is also just weird it being in a modern day setting. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was, like I said, fun, enjoyable. It was a good comic book. It's still never going to beat the original TV series for me. It's like there's so much nostalgia there, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I'm glad that I did read this one. Next prompt that I had was prompt number 6, which you had to choose between whether you were going to be in this harness that was sort of hanging over this game or whether you were going to be behind the controls of it. Instead, I chose controls. I'm not hanging above anything. No, thank you, not for me. And that meant that the prompt was control. So again, you can kind of stretch this however you're wanting to. I chose to go for some fairly controlling characters because the character of Kenneth in particular in Ship of Destiny kind of likes to be in control of people, and yeah, definitely fits that prompt, I would say, especially once I got towards the end of this book. There was just more and more twists and turns going on, and yeah, control definitely works for this one. So that was prompt number 6. And then prompt number 7 was the very last day. So basically, for anyone British who has watched the TV show Golden Balls when you were younger, basically it was that. There was an option of share or steal, and if you both chose share, you both got to have the prize. If one of you chose steal, then they got to steal it. If you both chose steal, neither of you got it. That game was my childhood. I used to love that game show. So I very much liked this prompt. I chose a share card because, you know, I'm all about sharing and let's be nice to each other, and that meant that my prompt was found family. So for found family, I did manage to fit it into one of the books that I had already read, because I actually had 2 books to finish yesterday and I wanted to finish them both within TBRPGathon. But neither of those really worked for found family, but luckily the Buffy comic does. The Scooby Gang is definitely a found family, but also what I quite liked about this is that Buffy was the first sort of online fandom that I was a part of. So for me, this was one of the first times that I found sort of a found family online. So it definitely fit for me. So those are all my TBRPGathon prompts. Just to give you a roundup of the rest of what I finished reading. As I said, I did finish 2 books yesterday. So I finished Ship of Destiny first. This ended up being a 5-star. I did get so into it towards the end that it made up for the sort of lull that I had in the middle, and I just really loved this book. I really did love the characters in it. I found myself a lot more invested in the characters than I have been at any other point in the series. And just there were some really satisfying endings for some characters in like good and bad ways, and I really enjoyed this. I'm intrigued to see where the sort of world is going to go. I was watching, so basically I've been watching the Catch Up Book Club Elderling Long live shows after finishing each book, and I watched one on the way into work this morning, and they were talking in that about sort of not really knowing kind of what the bigger picture the whole realm was. It's like these individual stories, and there isn't really like a sort of big bad that they're sort of building up towards fighting against, which you normally do have in these sort of big epic fantasy series. And I don't know if there will be one. I don't know if it is just going to be this sort of quiet story and it is just kind of letting you know what the world is and about magic coming back into this world, because that's kind of what the premise of all of the Elderling books is about, is magic sort of coming back, having been lost previously. So I don't really have any idea what we're kind of building towards, but I'm excited either way because I've just loved every book that I've read so far. I'm really excited to carry on with Fool's Errand, although I will be reading the short story The Willful Princess and the Piebald Prince. I'll be reading that first. I've just ordered it actually, so it should be arriving this week. And then the other book that I finished was, I finally finished Song for the Wild Built. I don't know why this took me like 5 days to read it, because it is so short. It's like 149 pages, I think. I did really enjoy this. I gave this one 4 stars. It sort of had a lot of things to say. It was a lot about kind of just not really knowing your place in the world. So basically it's about this monk called Sibling Dex, and they have this bit of a crisis of not really knowing what they want to do. There are different roles for monks, and they decide that they want to become a tea monk instead of what it is that they've been doing previously. And a tea monk is this person who literally travels around with this little tea shop, and people come and tell them their woes and then get a cup of tea, and it's just kind of like it almost feels like a free therapy service in a way. They sort of tell them problems, give them a little bit of advice, give them a cup of tea and send them on the way. And Sibling Dex sort of starts doing that, but then it's still feeling a little bit lost and doesn't really know what to do. So they decide to go on this trip into the wilderness. And in this world there were once robots, and the robots all left. and haven't been seen for many years. But the robots did leave with a promise that they would come back and check on the humans at some point. So sibling Dex ends up running into one of these robots, and it's just about kind of what happens from there. And it is the first in a series, so I think there's going to be a lot more to this, and them sort of battling through their feelings of feeling so lost, and the robot kind of helping that, and also kind of seeing what human life has been like since. And it was really good. It was a nice sort of setup. I think I'm really excited to see where the series goes from here. The only issue that I really had with it is possibly that it is too short. I do like the novellas, but at the same time I really wanted more from it. I think I might like it more on reread when there's more of them out, so I can kind of read them as a bigger story. But we will see. It was still a very high 4-star. On the new core pile where you can have half stars, it was a 4.5, so very high rating. But yeah, that is pretty much it. This is what I read for TBRPGathon. I had a great reading week, even if I wasn't feeling the best outside of reading. I did still have a good reading week. I now have 3 books left to read on my TBR, and I will be attempting to read those next week. So please join me to see whether or not I manage to complete my TBR or if I have to take another punishment. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Let me know if you participated in TBRPGathon. Let me know how your reading went, and I will see you next time with a new video. Bye.